It is September 30th, 2018, 9:45 a.m. in the morning. This is episode, Episode 242. Woo! Today's cartoon is about, I guess, just how disgusting, I guess twofold here, about how disgusting this is. You know, like, you can't let your children watch this stuff. Not like children are really going to want to watch, you know, Senate hearings. But they might stumble upon them, and then your child might ask you, you know, what's the devil's triangle, or what's boofing? If you're like Brett Kavanaugh, you'll give lies as your answer. You don't want to tell them what the devil's triangle is. You definitely do not want to tell them what boofing is. See, I had made a mistake in my first. I mentioned it in my blog along with some of the other stuff. And talking about how, you know, you can't put a guy on the Supreme Court. He just tries to pass lies off to us as if we're that stupid. You know, like when he says the devil's triangle is a drinking game. I had somebody who said, hey, when I was a kid in the 90s, we had a drinking game called Devil's Triangle. And it was like a beer pong game. That's not what Brett Kavanaugh's talking about. That's not. And the thing is, I was a kid in the 80s. I remember Devil's Triangle being talked about, and I played quarters. I played beer pong, and I never heard Devil's Triangle used for any of that stuff. I did hear Devil's Triangle used for, like, a three-way between two guys and a woman. So, and some people have different theories, but I think the reason it's called Devil's Triangle is because it's dangerous. Because two guys, you know, their wieners might actually touch each other. So, yeah. Oh no! I have to cut it off. But boofing, that was new to me. And I'd written in my blog, you know, like it was like a drinking thing or throwing up or sex. No, it's none of those. It is a drinking thing. I was just watching this little snippet was shown on CNN from SNL, and Matt Damon was playing Kavanaugh, and I could forget her name was playing Amy Klobuchar, but she said, I asked you if you ever blacked out, and you answered, I like beer 10 times. Apparently, Brett Kavanaugh really likes beer. Because I went and looked up boofing on the Urban Dictionary. And there's a couple of definitions in Urban Dictionary. And the first two involve drugs. The third one involves drinking. No one's made any drug charges against Kavanaugh. Everything's about drinking, and he admits how much he likes drinking. He admits he likes drinking so much, and he's defensive of his drinking to the point that I think he still has a drinking problem. He talks like someone, you know, when people defend drinking, they defend beer, and they can't even answer the question of how many is too many. What does the chart say? First off, no chart tells you how much beer is too many. It doesn't. There's a blood alcohol level, you know, that fits you. But I'm sure you can buy a chart that could say this is probably too much and stuff like that. But you don't. Who goes out drinking with the chart? Well, let me check the chart. How many have I had today? Most people know exactly where they should stop. But he couldn't even answer that simple question. You think that even if you're a massive alcoholic, you'd be like, oh, so-and-so is too many, whatever. But he was just defensive of drinking, of his drinking. And having to go back and saying, well, do you drink? What kind of beer do you like? I want to know what you like. Have you ever blacked out? The senators weren't there to answer questions. They were there to ask them. When Kavanaugh's on the Supreme Court, it's going to be his job to ask questions, not answer them. Is that the way he wants to be treated when he's on the Supreme Court? I don't think so. Even if he is innocent, which I really don't think he is, just from Dr. Ford's testimony and his, he's not mentally qualified. To me, people who can't comprehend questions and rationalize facts, and just be realistic with their answers, just don't be ridiculous. That just disqualifies them for me. You know, we already get one dumbass in the White House, one branch of government. Let's not put another one in there. We got plenty of dumbasses in the Senate. You know, can we purposely, you know, not intentionally put one of those people on the Supreme Court? I wasn't happy with Neil Gorsuch, but I didn't think he was an idiot. You know, there's a lot of stuff he's going to do that I dislike. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff in the past he's done that I dislike. With rulings and his judgment, I didn't think he was, you know, a horrible person for it. Maybe troglodyte a bit, but I, you know, think he's like a Kavanaugh. But Kavanaugh is just a horrible, disgusting, vile person. Let's not send those people to the Supreme Court. I believe that even a Republican can find enough a candidate, you know, that could get at least 60 votes. But they had to change that rule because they knew Donald Trump was going to nominate anyone who could get 60 votes. So now it's just 50. But I haven't told you what boofing is yet, have I? Yeah, you don't want me to. You don't want me to. Let's just say that it involves bending over, probably. Yeah, I said he really likes beer. All right. How did I get this idea? Arlo might ask. I don't remember. But I would just remember thinking about how funny boofing was. Just the word. And then I really, really like the expression of people spitting out their coffee. All right. This is Ariel's fault, Robert Coutinho. But Alexa, what's the temperature?
Right now, it's 62 degrees. Today, expect a high of 77 degrees.
Sorry, Robert. Ariel made me do it. You should blame Ariel. I'm going to read Ariel's comments here. There's a simple explanation for why they dropped someone who had a male accuser without even proceedings to hearings. They don't want a gay person or bisexual confused, which both being gay to these idiots in the Supreme Court, or at their country club, or in the Senate, or in Congress, or as president, or as their neighbor, or breathing the same oxygen, or breathing the oxygen, period. Pretty much, Ariel. I think if they did find out, I don't think a male accuser was going to come up, but if one did, they would drop him so quick, they wouldn't even need any facts. The guy who just came out and said he touched my wee-wee in the elevator, and he'd be gone. Because they tell you, I don't believe it, I don't believe it, I don't believe it. But then there is this one eyeball goes, I still don't know. I don't know what if he actually hit this. I don't know. All right. Gay. All right. Ariel also comments, everyone, by which I mean everyone on the Republican side, keeps saying, oh, this happened so long ago. Shouldn't be a big deal. Why are we going over the guy's whole life with a fine-tooth comb? Why haven't seen anyone pointing out that is a Supreme Court position for life? Important enough to say anymore. You get more of this. I should read these comments before I make the video and decide which ones I want to read. That one was fine. That was not like me saying I already said my time right now. Alright. And Ariel says, poor baby. Everyone's commenting, liking, retweeting your hearing coverage. I barely feel for you. Sarcasm. You should feel bad. Notifications. They just ding, 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 ding. And then I get it like later. Go through them. Just time. I got like 20 things to do today. Most of them at home, but I'm trying to. And this is one of them. I feel bad for me for there. So I had to order prints. I got to do my billing today. It's the end of the month. I got to. I already ordered the prints. I got to do another blog. I already did one blog. Did the Costa Rica cartoon, blogged out. And that might be it. But I don't know. At some point, I think I'm going to take a shower after this one. Well, we think Kavanaugh was sober at the hearing. His nose and cheeks were pretty flushed, and he did keep repeating how much he likes beer. He did like kind of flushed, didn't he? A little bit. Yeah. Oh, look, Eric. It's not blood alcohol chart. There's no gosh darn chart. It's blood alcohol count. Thanks for saying that better than I could, Ariel. Everyone metabolizes alcohol differently. 3 drinks might be too much for you, but I'd say 2 drinks is too much for me. 4 will have me swinging from a chandelier. Note to self, ever hang out with Ariel? It's 4 drinks. Alright. Ariel says, Ariel didn't cough. I did. Ariel says, I don't think it's true that if you're innocent, you don't come in angry, respond to questions with anger. Well, not all the time. He could generally feel offended that this was what he sees as a lie and suddenly an issue for him. Question dodging seemed more of a guilt indicator, plus his claims of being a total choir boy when his lyric shows a complete read more. Opposite. I had to click read more for one word. Alright. Robert Coutinho's commenting now. One of the greatest tales about the reps on the committee is that they had a prosecutor ask Ford questions but did not have her ask Kavanaugh questions. WTF. He is when accused of wrongdoing. Yeah, well, she started to ask Kavanaugh questions, but then the Republicans realized they didn't really want to ask Kavanaugh questions. It wasn't that her questions were so hard and challenging to Kavanaugh. They did not want to ask him questions. And in case you didn't notice, the Republicans didn't really ask him any questions. They just wanted to bark and grill and complain about Democrats. They were screaming, defending Kavanaugh, what a great person he is. and Lindsey Graham had to have his meltdown. They just asked him, are these charges true? When he says no, and it's like, see, no, he should go in the Supreme Court, because that's all he needed. But yeah, it was totally unfair. I mean, they didn't throw the same standards at either one. Kavanaugh claimed that it was legal for him to drink as a senior in high school. It was not. He was 17. Maryland raised him to drinking age of 21 before he turned 18, so it's not legal most of his time in college either. And Robert's right about that. But there's an explanation for the Kavanaugh lies. He's a liar. And that's stuff that he needs to just be called out on. And I wish he had been called out on that during the hearing. That was one thing that they did not call him out on. This video took like 2 hours and 20 minutes, and today's video is 14 minutes long. I mean, the cartoon took 2 hours and 20 minutes. Did I say that? I just have to make the kids look kind of cute. I mostly went with the acrylic brush today. Actually, that was the only one I used. I was trying to do some blending. Sorry, that's CNN Jig Tapper in the background. I don't like MSNBC so much on Sunday mornings. I don't know why. I'm not a big fan. Let's see what's... Yeah, just not a big fan of it. I mean, I guess I don't like MSNBC on Sundays. Or Saturdays. And on Sunday evening, I don't like any of them. You just gotta give up on news most of the weekend. Especially Sunday night. Thankfully, I already have my next idea. So I don't have to watch news coverage for my next one. And I don't always rely on cable news coverage for my next cartoon idea. I can read too. I know how to do that. I have 3 newspaper subscriptions and I hardly use them at all. I make myself sound intelligent. I have 3 newspaper subscriptions. Which really helps me whenever I click the links when I see the stories out there. But I really don't sit down and read the LA Times every day, or the Post, or the New York Times, and go through it. Oh, stupid page. Nah. I haven't done that with a real newspaper in forever. And I love newspapers. I love paper. But I don't like it building up in my house. But I do read a lot of news stories. But I can't say that I read the entire paper anymore. I'm selective about which stories I am reading. And I haven't touched my fear book in since right before the Kavanaugh hearing started. I haven't had time. I meant to yesterday. I was going to finish it. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it today. As you see, I kept working on their expressions and their faces. I wasn't really happy with them at first. Keep doing them. I have noticed with one thing is that if I'm not careful, the gray and the skin tone, it produces green. I have to be careful with that. With the acrylic. And someday I might intentionally do that. Alright folks, there's your cartoon. We are done. Don't Google boofing. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. Alright. I will see you all tomorrow on Monday. This is episode 242. And please leave us a comment, a like, share it on social media, and subscribe to the channel. Click that red button and leave a comment, and I'll give you a shout out. Goodbye.